Hey guys, and welcome to another legendary battle. This is going to be a special challenge mission for myself. Can you win at Total War Warhammer multiplayer with goblins only? I thought of doing a few of these challenges, skinks only, monsters only, cavalry only, and so forth. And they really are kind of what drive me to play some of these awesome games. So I'm pretty excited to bring this one to you today. If you've got any recommendations of challenges you would like me to do in the future, feel free to leave them in the comments section down below. But let's get into this one. Of course, we have gone for the mean green gobbo machines. There's the green skins, and we have a pretty crazy army that is somehow not a 20 stack. I've gone full goblins and not even made a 20 stack. I feel like I've let every goblin player down. We've got pretty cool units. We have the 8-peak loonies mixed in with a load of night goblins along the front battle line. We don't really have any fanatics. We do have the warlord's boys. My micro is pretty garbage right now due to the amount of breaks I've taken from the game. So yeah, fanatics on the front line probably wouldn't be the best play for me. We've got a load of Night Goblin archers, including the rusty arrows in the back here, as well as triple Doomdiver catapults, looking to rain down some fire from afar and really catch opponents by surprise. Not enough Goblin players bring their artillery pieces. They've got some pretty decent options, and they can really catch an opponent unawares if they're not prepared for such war machines. Down here on the left-hand side, we do have the Goblin Big Boss. In fact, two Goblin Big Bosses. One is basically standard, the other is decked out with all the gear, coming in with They Need Stabbing, a Potion of Full Hardiness, and Slippery. And then we have one of my favorite lords in the entire game. That is the Goblin Shaman, but in particular, the Goblin Great Shaman on Wolf. This boy is fast as F. 97 speed. He is lightning across the battlefield. Cheap, cheerful, and here for a good time. Coming in with Curse of the Bad Moon, Itchy Nuisance, and Vindictive Glare, as well as Don't Even Try It and the Crown of Command. Now, I was going to do a load of fancy edits to this video. Unfortunately, I've not really slept in like a week, or I've slept, but not very well in about a week. So I don't really have the energy or time to do some big fancy stuff, so it shall just be a standard battle today, but in the future, I'm looking to do a bit more editing like the previous couple of videos. Oh yeah, we've got a couple of skirmish cav as well. We've got the Morgans, Mangy Marauders, and Death Creepers in the hidden trees. Now, for the force of the Empire, it is a mixture of swordsmen, halberdiers, and gunmen making up the majority of the battle line, including some crossbows in the back, a nice defensive pocket. They do have two artillery pieces, the Hellblaster volley gun, chef's kiss there to my opponent, a lovely artillery piece, as well as the Hammer of Witches. We have Boris Todbringer up in the sky, and we have some cavalry. It looks like we've got, those Outriders? No, we've got Demigryph Knights as well as Reichsguard, and my opponent just goes for the most Leroy Jenkins play of all time. Now, this may seem hugely surprising, but do remember, my Night Goblins are going to be lurking and hiding, a few of them, trying to make sure they don't get spotted early on, and then jumping on top of the Reichsguard. At least I believe Night Goblins do have... Oh my god, it's been so long. I swear Night Goblins can go invisible. Am I going crazy? They got Stalk, thank god. Okay. So obviously he didn't know what's here, probably thought that I was doing some kind of trap in the trees, and decides to test out with his cavalry. Now, I was playing this in custom lobbies, and I cannot recommend custom lobbies enough to people. I've been playing them quite a bit since getting back into the game, and it is just the Wild West, baby. You have no idea what you're going to come up against. Your opponents might do this and start cycle charging with demigryphs and charging with their lords, but then again, they don't bring wizards half the time. It is just like the most confusing place to be. You can join a game and the funds are all of a sudden triple what you're usually expecting. My opponent is pushing forwards though. This seems like not a great play, but it's honestly causing me so many problems. I have no mass in my army, so Boris, as well as his cavalry, are shutting down a significant portion of my range. The infantry is moving forward slow as hell, though, trying to trot into position, and I'm going to be taking this advantage to really pick apart my opponent. Coming over Vanguard in the back. Morgans, Mangy Marauders do jump on top of the Hammer of Witches crew. They are all dead. Death Creepers in the back as well, though my opponent's done a decent job here, fending them off with the Swordsman, holding those shields tight together, making an impenetrable wall of faith, steel, and gunpowder. That's going to force back those Death... oh my god, what are they called again? The Death Creepers. I was about to say the Death Rippers. I was like, that's not right. So my opponent's doing a bit of a two-pronged assault. So he's fighting with a decent chunk of infantry and his lord in the front, but also trying to protect his hammer of the witches, as well as Hellboss in the back, and a lot of crossbowmen, and it's become incredibly disjointed. Now, during this challenge, my idea was that every single game I play, say with the Goblins, I'll show you the highlights of to get the best one. But this was, or not to get the best one, but to show you like all the attempts it took me to win with full Goblins. But this is my first game, and I'm feeling pretty confident already, because though the bounce of power is only a little bit in my favor, I'm feeling pretty good. Boris Tobring is stuck here and being dragged down. My opponent is now pushing up more and more aggressively with halberdiers and cavalry, forcing their way towards my huge amount of guns. My infantry is buckling, and my opponent gets a nice surround to a mixture of demiglyphs and swordsmen, clattering in and taking down a couple of night goblins. Bit of a tear out going in as well, but I'm forcing my way into the back line. My opponent's done a decent job of fending off the death creepers, but I'm just constantly retreating and sending in wave after wave of men, forcing back those handgunners at my opponent. He's going to be forced to keep me at bay with halberdiers, which really isn't what he wants to be doing. He wants to be pushing my back line, shutting down those goblin doomdiver catapults. The war has been put. Morgul's mangy marauders shall feast aplenty tonight on the souls and hearts of men of the Empire. Now, Boris does get up into the sky. You can see some big arcing shots coming in by the doomdivers, going down on the enemy infantry, really trying to focus down their range units, because I feel like I could kite my opponent to death with a lot of my archers if it came down to it. So I want to take down their range where possible. It looks like we were shutting down the back line pressure as well. Halberdiers were about to break. Boris was in hot retreat there, and my opponent's army is in complete disarray. A close victory, relatively dominant. I felt we did pretty good. Well played to Rogue Gallery, though. I assume a bit of a newer player not coming in with a spellcaster there, but we managed to do it. Can you win in Total War Warhammer multiplayer with just goblins? You definitely can. I just did it first try, and it was an awesome scrap. Some pretty cool stuff coming in with the Doomdivers. Not the craziest value across the board for any of my units. My opponent did friend the tower a little bit early, but I think the game was over, but it's just going to mean that the damage value isn't too crazy. The Goblin Archers, always very underrated. I just feel like cheap missiles are so good in general in this game. The Goblin Great Shaman led his troops bravely. As for my opponent, basically on some advice that I'd give you, is I think you're probably relatively new. Maybe I'm wrong there, and hopefully that's not, hopefully you don't feel that's like insulting if that isn't the case, but definitely a spellcaster. Almost always bring a spellcaster, because like it's just so much resources that you're giving up and that your opponent has and you're not utilizing, so it's almost always worth it. Even if it's a cheap spellcaster and just spams one spell, it is often worth it. And then trying to fight as one moving unit is definitely the better way. Splitting the army in two, not a bad idea necessarily. Trying to apply pressure to my heavy range whilst protecting the back line, but there was simply too much of the back protecting the back line, therefore not enough pushing forwards, and I wasn't able to be overwhelmed by my opponent. But well played, Rogue Gallery. You had some real standout moments as well. The cavalry cycle charge in the front is something that not many new players do, and you did that really well. And likewise, you were able to protect the back line, just use too many units to do it. If you push forward in one go, I think I would have been in quite a bit of trouble there. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, a little bit more jank than what the standard video is going to be going into the future. Didn't really have the time or energy to do kind of many edits, but still wanted to get the actual video out this week. What do you want my next challenge to be? I'm thinking skinks only or female only army could be quite fun. We could definitely do that with wood elves. The idea is I'd play as many games as I need to actually complete that challenge, show you the highlights and best moments of all my failed attempts, and then final big kind of standard battle report on the successful attempt. Although the Goblin one happened first try, so I'm certainly not mad. Until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.